So you go to Newcastle, Willie McFall, the manager.
Yeah.
I mean, my word, some senior players in there: Peter Beardsley, Glenn Roeder,
John Anderson, Kenny Wharton, Peter Beardsley,
and a certain youngster called Paul Gascoigne.
Yeah.
Had you heard of him going down there?
No. I walked into the team, I'd never heard a thing. The only...
He's a year younger, of course.
Yes.
Yeah.
The first time I saw him, I'd gone down, got the train down with my cases, train down. My mum and dad packed me off. Got to the train station, got up to the stadium, and the manager picked me up and took me up to the training ground. Now we're just going in the gates of the training ground, and by the way, this mini just flew by, and I was kind of like that. And he went, "That's Gazza," and I didn't know who he was. And I went, "All right." He says, "You'll find out." He says, "And do you know what? He doesn't even have a licence." So, but then the following day, I mean, the team talk.
Fans everywhere.
The team talk. I'm thinking Beardsley. I mean, he's
what a player!
What a player. I'm thinking team talk will be about the whole. Nearly all the team talk was about Gazza, and I'm thinking he must be good. And he went on, and I've never seen anything like him.
And you've played alongside some
outstanding
players, haven't you?
I do. Listen, maybe I'm at Italia 90. Listen, he got his injuries in both. The FA Cup final was his own fault. And I think he was in a nightclub in Newcastle when he done his kneecap. So it was his injuries, it was his own fault. I believe at Italia 90, he was a player of the tournament. So you're arguably one of the best players in the world.
Did the two of you just hit it off right away?
Yeah, I don't know why. I mean, I had a bit daftness in me, not as much as him. But yeah, just a young kid. Them kids, they're 18 playing for Newcastle.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Going to Old Trafford and going to Highbury. Played Highbury 3 times, never lost.
Nothing faced him, did it?
Nothing. And everybody, listen, if you go and ask, Gazza, the only people Gazza got stick from, probably Celtic fans, obviously, but was the press. Because if you asked any player Gazza had played with, they would tell you they love him. Because he had the biggest heart ever. And again, I'm talking about Terry, managers that you could relate to being your dad. Gazza had Walter, Sir Bobby Robson, and Terry Venables. They were his dads.
Obviously, what he achieved in a relatively short period at Newcastle, and he goes to Tottenham. But after he left Newcastle, did you continue to keep in touch with him? Over the years?
I mean, I was at his wedding. I was the only Scottish player at his wedding, along with Jamie Redknapp, Paul Ince, Seaman, John Moncur. So yeah, listen, I've kept in touch with him. I still do. It's not as often now, but I still keep in touch with him. He's just, it's sad. It's really, really sad. It's heartbreaking.
I was going to ask how it affects you when you've seen his various issues over the years, and you actually know at heart what kind of person he is.
Yeah.
And he's just affected by so many things. Yeah. But the love for him is quite incredible, wasn't it? The depth of love for him of all ages.
As I say, if you asked, I'd be very surprised if there obviously could be one player, but be very surprised if there was one player who disliked him, because he was just lovable. He just wanted to laugh and joke all the time, and he was just comfortable. If Gaz had been able to stay at the training ground and just train every day and just play and not go home, Gaz would have been the happiest man ever, because that's where he was his happiest. On the pitch on a Saturday, he was at his happiest because he had no worries.
Newcastle must have been a fantastic period in your life. Wonderful city, great club. Was it? I mean, was it
Yeah,
as
yeah.
enjoyable as I can imagine it must have
2
been?
years off. I mean, it is
On and off the pitch?
Yeah, I mean, Derek, it's a. You talk about in the world. There's special clubs. Newcastle is a special club, but without being the ones that win Champions Leagues and all that, the Real Madrids and Barcelonas, and it's a special club.
I think people often underestimate the amount of games you played for Newcastle, Darren. I mean, you were just over 2 seasons, over 80 games.
Yeah, 83 games, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I was stripped every single week. I had a thigh strain for a month. But apart from that, I was stripped every single week I was there. Whether I was sub or obviously playing, but I played most times. And as I say, listen, I'm going to Stamford Bridge, I'm going to White Hart Lane. I'm playing against one of the worst games. My hero was Glenn Hoddle, and we played Tottenham at White Hart Lane, and I was playing against them, and I had the worst game. Probably the worst game of my career.
What were you know?
Yes.
Were you?
Yeah, I was totally overwhelmed by the situation playing against them, because that, again, he was a genius.
What's your favourite Gaza story? Whether it's from then or since? I mean, I can imagine.
What time's this going out?
I can imagine there's so many of them.
No, well, the one that I love, and the one that I love telling is that I brought him up. I said, we'll come up for the weekend. We'll go up to Edinburgh, come up for the weekend, we'll go out. And then Meadowbank are playing Hamilton the next day. I'll phone Terry and we'll go on the team bus. So we're out in Edinburgh. So we meets the team bus, gets on the bus, and he was becoming to be a name then, so the Meadowbank players kind of knew who he was. So we goes in, and so we're sitting watching the game into the director's box, and we're sitting watching the game, and I think everyone, the older ones, will remember Fergie, the mad
the Hamilton Accies fan, yeah.
Yes, right, who used to just hurl abuse at everybody, the referee, the players, everything. So I'm sitting watching the game and all that, and he was just like that, watching him. Just never took his eyes off him.
Transfixed by him.
And so I'm saying, you enjoying the game? Yeah, loving it. and so half time we go down to the boardroom, get a pie and a cup of tea, and so I goes back up. He said, I'm just going to the toilet. I said, that is fine. So watching the game and all that, I'm looking at my watch, and I said, these ages, I wonder where he is and all that. So I just happened to look over and all that. Does is like that with Fergie. And I can't sing the song that he turned Darren Jackson, you're bouncing up and down with Fergie. So, and by the way, the whole director's box were wetting themselves laughing. Honestly, they were killing themselves. Both sets of directors were loving it. And he just left them and came back up and said, good guy.
That's outstanding. You came back up to Scotland for Jim McLean's Dundee United.
Yes.
Can you recall your first moments with Jim McLean as he's trying to talk you into signing?
Yes, I can, yes.
Where, when?
Well, I think it was...
Was it late 1988, was
it? Do you know what? It was a couple of days before the Lockerbie disaster. And we went up, and I went up with my wife at the time, and we went in, and this is true. Talking figures and all that, and many years, I wasn't like the other ones. I didn't have to sign a 5-year option. It was a 3-year deal. It was a 3.5-year deal. It was December. And Jim McLean's secretary popped her head in the room and said, Mr. McLean, Darren's mother-in-law's on the phone. And I looked at my wife and I was like, Mum. My hand on my heart. Jim just turned around and says, tell Bill McMurdo he's busy. And it was Bill.
Was that code?
Well, no. Alec Miller was trying to sign me as well.
Oh, right, okay.
So, and Bill had been he wasn't my agent then. He would become my agent. And but Jim was so switched on. Do you know what I mean? He was so switched on, and I had a laugh with Bill after it, obviously. So Alec Miller tried to sign me at that time as well. But listen, an amazing 3.5 years at Dundee United. I mean,
some players there, wasn't there?
Yes, I mean,
With Dave
listen,
Narey,
you're talking.
Maurice Malpass,
I mentioned this.
Paul Hegarty.
I mentioned this in a programme once, Derek, and now it's up for debate. I'm not saying that this is, because other people say the other one is, that it's got to be best Scottish defence, Malpass, Hegarty, Narey and Gough. But then you've got Stuart Kennedy, Willie, Alec and Rugby.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So
yeah.
So
Incredible era.
It's a debate, but listen, I didn't play with Gough, but the other three were just in Sturrock. Sturrock was, again, a genius.
Yeah.
Incredible player. I've mentioned top players previous in the Scotland squad. They were stars. They could have played for anybody.
Well, 5 years earlier they'd won the league, which was astonishing.
But they could have played for anybody, and I would love to have seen the amount of clubs that would Jim McLean turn down for Morrison, Heggie, Narey, Sturrock, Bannon.
Did Jim have anything particular to say to you that was persuasive? Did he say anything at that time?
He, by the way, he tried to sign me from Meadowbank. Terry had a few run-ins with him because he was trying to get me for 10 grand or something like that. And so Terry had a couple of run-ins with him. So he always liked me. But again, we all know the side that nobody liked.
How often did you see it?
You saw it every week. Every week. And probably worse after we won games. I mean, yeah. But I think it actually kind of made you a stronger kind of character.
Brilliant coach?
Yeah, brilliant coach. Ahead of his time. Great coach. I mean, they all talk about stats now. We had a guy, Dougie Houston, who was a lovely man. Dougie used to come up and say to me after the game, you held the ball up that many times, you linked the play that many times, you gave it. He was doing stats then. I mean, and it's so prominent in the game now.
You played in what still many people rate the best Scottish Cup final ever. You scored. Motherwell 4, Dundee United 3. You scored the 90th minute to put the game into extra time. I think United had been 3-1 down. Incredible game, but to you, when you think about it now, can you possibly say it was a great game, or is it just a sheer disappointment?
No. Sheer disappointment, because I thought we were poor on the day. Now, did I think Motherwell deserved to win it? No, like, I have actually laughed with Tam Cowan about this, because he's like, you need to let it go. The fourth goal was a foul on Alan Main. And so that probably stuck in our throat, and of course, going on from that, 4 of us were sent off after the game with David Syme. But did we do enough in the game to win it? No, we didn't. No, I thought I was poor on the day, but I just don't think we all did enough to win the game.
Of course, you were also.
And of course, I lost the game. I got sent off and I broke my wrist. so
Part of all that went well. Yeah. I mean, you were also at Tannadice in on the early years of Big Duncan Ferguson.
Yeah. Duncan made his debut for me against, I think it was East Fife.
So, obviously, we were talking about Gaza at Newcastle, and you quickly saw the talent he had. When you saw Dunk, in all honesty, did you think, yep, he's heading to the top as well?
Well, at that
different
time,
type player, of course.
Yes, at that time, I don't know if I thought, but Fergie always had a bit about himself, even with Jim. Like that's when it was changing. Like Fergie and say Ray McKinnon, who was walking out, and wee Jim was struggling to handle the younger ones, and that's when it kind of changed. I mean, but when Derek, see when you look at that, like what he put together, the reserve team then was Alec Kettlellan, Gary Boland, Alan Preston, Brian Welsh, Ray McKinnon, a boy John Lindsay, who played in that World Cup team. Paddy Connolly, Duncan, John O'Neill, Andy McClam.
Great
Do you know what I
talent.
mean?
Real good
that
players.
reserve team could have competed in the Premier League.
Yeah, easily. Easily.
Alan Main in goals. Scott Thompson, the goalkeeper.
You enjoyed Tannadice, didn't you? You enjoyed
Listen,
your time at Dundee United.
I swear to you, and I spoke about it the other week there, I loved it because we had an incredible team spirit. Everybody got abuse from the manager. But the thing is that we all had to stay up there. So we were all together. If there was a night out, everybody was there. We were a real close knit. I mean, it was.
It's interesting because Michael O'Neill was a teammate in Newcastle. Mm-hmm. Michael would then become a teammate at Dundee United, and he would also subsequently be with you at Hibs as well, wouldn't he? And you're very good friends to, as we speak. But you had a good, happy spell at Dundee United. Then you go into Hibs, and I think you played for Hibs more than you did anyone else. I think you were over 200 games. Alec Miller primarily was your manager. But of course, you're a Hearts fan as a boy.
Well, it was a strange one because obviously my dad was a dyed-in-the-wool Jambo, and I was a Hearts fan. I was Hearts mascot, and then at school I got in tow with a pal and all that, and he was a Rangers fan, and I actually started supporting Rangers. So I was a Hearts fan and played for Hibs, and I was a Rangers fan and played for Celtic.
Your late father Adam, when you signed for Hibs, in all honesty, was there a bit of...
Not at all. By the way, not at all.
He was just thrilled?
He actually, my dad lived in Easter Road.
Really?
Yeah, that's where he lived, yeah. And all his pals, know them all, but most of his pals were Hibs fans. So he loved going along, and by the way, my mum loved going along Easter Road at that time. I mean, really, really loved it. They were separated, but they used to go. And,
your mum was a big football fan, not just for you.
Yeah, God,
she loved the football, yeah.
So, my dad loved going along Easter Road, and it was, five amazing years with Alec. Alec was again brilliant, and I've said about Craig not getting the credit deserved. I don't think Alec got the credit deserved at Easter Road.
He was there a long time as Hibs manager, wasn't he?
And I don't know. Listen, I don't know because he came from Rangers. I'm not very sure. But by the way, and I always laughed at when people said too defensive. So your midfields, either Kevin McAllister and Mickey Weir, Pat McGinley, Brian O'Neill, Michael O'Neill, and Wright and Jackson, and that's defensive, or Gareth, or Paul, Mark McGraw. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
yeah. Pat McGinley was a good player as well, wasn't he?
Listen, I've said
very good player.
I've said, and I think Pat, Gordon Hunter, and Kevin McAllister were very, very unlucky not to be capped for Scotland.
Yeah.
And it wasn't because they weren't good enough. It was the players that were in at the time.
It was their miss. Yeah.
Like when you had, we spoke at the defence, Hendry, Calderwood,
yeah.
Matt Elliott, Tom Boyd, Jeebesy's trying to get in front of them, Pat in the middle, Collins, McStay, McAllister, Burley. So he's trying to get in, and then he played 3-5-2, so it was a wing back. So Kevin McAllister's not really going to get in, is it? So I think it was the players that were in there. That's why they didn't, because they deserved it.
Ordinarily, in most other eras, they would have got a couple of caps at least, But it was a good spell for you again at Hibs.
Yes.
And then, sensationally, you go to Celtic. You're the first signing of the Wim Jansen era. I think it was 1.2 million. July '97. How much of an England had you had about Celtic? Was it out?
Tommy tried to sign me about 5 months before, but we were in the relegation with Hibs, and so
Hibs just couldn't sell you.
He couldn't
even contemplate
just said,
it.
and listen, I don't often give myself a pat in the back, but I did actually, because I never took the huff. Obviously, I'm thinking I'm 31.
Yeah.
This could be my last chance. But I actually just kind of got on with it. We were down the bottom of the league, and by the way, I was part of that.
Did you feel a sense of responsibility?
Well, not a response, just...
You're part responsibility. I need to do my bit.
I'm a big part in us being down here. So,
I'm in it with the rest of them.
They turned it down, and I actually kind of just got on with it, never thinking it'll ever happen. And of course, luckily we survived. We played Airdrie in the playoff, and we survived. And then we were down Gillen Beach. Pre-season had started. We were down Gillen Beach, and I was on walking along the prom like this down at, and my phone went, and it was the club saying we've accepted a bid from Celtic. You have to go there tomorrow.
When you initially missed out on the move to Celtic, incredible possibility. You're possibly thinking it might not happen again.
100%.
But then the way things subsequently worked, as you said, Hibs survived, and then you get the move to Celtic. Was that almost like the best possible scenario for you?
It was, yeah.
If you'd have left Hibs at that time and they'd gone down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it was, without doubt.
Yeah.
It was the best of both, and I loved my time. It was an amazing time, and people will say the Hibs probably got the best of me, which is probably right because of my age.
It was big credit to you, Dan. It said it all about you as a player. That you're 31.
Yeah.
You were 31 when you got to Celtic.
Yes.
And you know, Henrik Larsson joins. I mean, who'd heard of Henrik Larsson at that particular time? It's a bit of a disastrous start for Celtic, losing the first two games.
First two games, yeah. Well, obviously my debut is at Easter Road, and we lose
football,
2-1. And Henrik will always blame me because he was trying to pass the ball to me, and Chick intercepted it, and Chick scores.
Great assist for Chick Charnley.
Yes, So, and then Dunfermline the following week, and you're thinking, but do you know what? And Derek, I could be 100% wrong. Vim was that laid back, and because he wasn't caught up in it all, the 10 in a row and Celtic losing games, he still kept calm. Where if I'd maybe been a Scottish manager,
highly strung.
yes,
Would that have made you more tense, more nervous?
Well, I think so, but Vim was.
Of course,
he was laid back, and he was kind of horizontal, and I think that helped him. But obviously, he had Murdo beside him.
The great Murdo McLeod.
Where I played with Hibs and Murdo. Murdo, I would think, had a big say in me going there.
Yeah.
But it wasn't a great start.
That season, obviously, you would ultimately stop Rangers from 10 in a row, and obviously most of the focus was on Vim as manager. But Murdo, how key a figure was Murdo in all of that? I mean, already a Celtic legend, but that season, how much importance would you give to him?
Right, well, I'm not going to go into obviously what happened, but the situation with Tosh and Henrik highlighted. I think that played a big part in us winning the league, because Vim had his team that he wanted, and the rest of us, we just fit in every now and then, and that's how he kind of treated us at the start.
You're referring, of course, to our training ground incident with Tosh and Henrik. Yeah.
And listen, obviously Tosh has apologised and all that, and they were fine. They were fine after it. But I think I could be wrong, but I think Murdo must have said to, you can't really treat the rest of them the way you are, because it wasn't right. Was
Vim and Murdo just a perfect balance?
Yes, it was. Yeah. Because listen, Murdo had been there, seen it and done it with Celtic. Do you know what I mean? He knew what was needed. He knew what was expected every single day. So I think over time he would have got through to Vim on the demands of being at Celtic.
Of course, what we didn't know then was that Henrik would go on to become top 3 greatest goal scorers in Celtic's history. And you were on the pitch when he scored the first of his 242 goals. Can you remember the game?
Yeah. Berwick at Tynecastle. Half empty. I think it was empty. I don't know if there was a
7-0, I think it was.
Yeah, I scored as well. But yes, listen, that year he was great, but he wasn't what he became. I mean, he did become the king, obviously. Fantastic, wonderful player. Everything, just everything. He had everything that you would expect from a striker.
And I think, I was, funny enough, prior to coming through to see you, I was watching the St Johnstone game at McDermott
Yeah.
Park, and he scores the first. I think, was that your first league goal as well?
Yes,
It was a belter,
Yeah.
curled into the top
Yeah, yeah.
corner. But I think Celtic had actually got into that game. Were they either bottom or they were second bottom after the start?
Yes, well, that was the third league game, but we had played in the cup midweek against St Johnstone. We had won.
Yeah, you'd actually had a couple of European games.
Yes,
Either side of you coming.
Scored, yeah,
Yeah,
in Europe.
Inter Cardiff.
Yeah.
But I think the one at St Johnstone almost like then sparked what was to follow.
Yes.
Because then it was like, right, let's get a finger out here. And then you kicked on from there.
Yes, we did. Listen, there was, I don't know,
Well,
there was me, there was Henrik, there was Stefan Mahy, there was Craig Burley, there was Paul Lambert, there was Mark Reaper.
Simon Donnelly.
No, I'm talking new signings.
Oh, beg your pardon.
New
Sorry, beg your
new
pardon.
signings.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and then the pressure of having to stop 10 in a row.
Jonathan Gould.
Goldie, yeah.
Yeah,
Goldie,
yeah.
So there was a lot of new signings, but we had to get up to speed very quickly and understand what this meant. Because I've said in the past, Derek, this wasn't just losing a league, this was history.
But then, Darren, within, was it just a few days of that game in
Yeah.
Perth, there was just, I can only imagine for you, biggest shock of your life. In a condition I don't think any of us had heard of at the time, not least of all yourself, hydrocephalus,
Hydrocephalus, yeah.
fluid on the brain. Tell me about the build-up to this diagnosis and ultimately the whole process for you, Darren.
Well, we went down to Seamill. We were playing Tyrol in the second leg of the UEFA Cup. We went down to Seamill and I just woke up and fucking bit of a sore head. So I went to Brian Scott, Scotty usual, couple of paracetamols, you'll be fine, take the aim. So went to my bed, we had pre-match, went to my bed and got up again. I thought, oh, still don't feel right, and Vim actually named the team and surprisingly enough I was playing. And so we're going up in the bus and I was sitting up at the back with the boys and I went back down the front. I said to Scotty, I said, I'm not feeling right. So he phoned ahead to Jack Mulhern, the club doctor. And so got to the park, went in the treatment room, they put me lying on a bed, put all the lights out, and I was just lying there and all that, and Vim came in and said, I need to know, are you going to play? And I said, no, I'm struggling. And they're like, okay. And unknown to me, in the dressing room, the boys had thought I'd bottled it. Big, obviously, first massive full house European game and all that, they thought which, listen, probably get at the time when you're thinking, it's only got a sore head. But again, unknown to me, that Celtic had invited the people from Ross Hall to the game that night. So they had says, can we book a scan, Darren, for the morning? So they just said, go home, see how you're feeling, phone me. Scotty phoned me in the morning, so I phoned, I said, slept okay, but still not great. I said, right, go to Ross Hall. So I went to Ross Hall, went with my wife and went to Ross Hall. And I parked my car in Glasgow in the city centre, the Italian centre. And so we got a taxi out and then came back. Well, we got there, got the scan, and they said, okay, just go away. So we came back and my car had been towed away. So, but they said, we'll be in touch. So, listen, I went home that night. Listen, obviously, I wasn't even worried. I wasn't even thinking, my head's not too bad and all that. And it actually came on the evening news. And yeah, and I'm thinking, all right, okay then. So Brian Scott phoned me about 9 o'clock that night and just said, listen, Darren, they've seen something, but they're not very sure what it is. Can you go back in tomorrow? Meet us at wherever it was. So I met Brian Scott and Jock Brown. So I thought, something's not right if they're coming. So we went. And and Dr. Philip Barlow was the surgeon, and he just said, listen, you've got hydrocephalus, which is, there's 2 valves in your head, and one wasn't open properly, and they reckon I'd probably had it since birth. And I'm 31
just
now.
a build-up of fluid.
Yeah, and so it's just a wee blockage. That's what's causing the headache. So what he pioneered the operation, what they do is they drill a hole in your head, and laser another just leave the valves and laser another passageway.
So he's giving you all this detail of what's
Yeah.
going to be happening. I can only imagine what's going. I mean,
Yeah, listen.
What are you thinking
Yeah,
at this point?
I mean,
this is horrific.
You're terrified. Yeah, and
Does this go beyond your career, Darren? Do you suddenly think?
well, he had said he had actually said at the time that your career will be over, because at that, even though he was pioneered the operation, before that happened, Derek, you used to have to get a shunt put in. The amount of letters I got and cards and all that were beyond. I still have them. My dad put them in a book and all that. I've still got them in my garage, and so you had to get a shunt put in, so your career, because you couldn't header the ball. So it was over. But he says, this is what we're going to do. So we went away, and the first thing Jock Brown says to me, he says, "Don't worry, Celtic will look after you. Your contract will be honoured. There's not a worry. You'll be looked after." He said, "So don't worry about making a decision." And Derek, I turned around right away and I says, I want to play. I still want to play. So we had to go back for another meeting with the surgeon. So we went back and he just said, "Listen, this is what I'm going to do. But the one thing, I've taken advice on this. And if you get this operation, what I'm going to do, you can play again."
But what were the chances of maybe you not even coming through the operation, Darren,
Well,
given the nature of it?
I don't know.
Was that ever spelled out to you?
No.
Never mind your career.
I mean, the surgeon just. But again, unknown to me, Jack Mulhern, who was the Celtic club doctor, why he put me in for a scan the following day, where the other clubs you might have just said, "It's just a headache, you'll be fine." Jack had it as well. Jack had hydrocephalus.
Really?
Yeah. So that's why Jack was right on it and said, "You're going for a scan."
What if you'd played against Tyrrell that particular?
I don't think I could have. I would have done anything heading the ball. It would have done. And so listen, Derek, that was one Tuesday. I was diagnosed. The following Tuesday, I was in getting an operation.
How long were you under?
I was under quite a few hours, yeah. But I can remember waking up and again, my wife was there and all that, and I've got tubes coming out my head, out my nose, everywhere and all that, and it's just...
The first time you saw yourself?
Yeah, I was, yeah.
Was that...
Because I had long hair at the time, and it was just one bit shaved. So it was, listen...
How scary is that?
Listen, I can only say that Scotty, Jack, Jock and Dr. Philip Barlow were just incredible. They were incredible. They took all, Jock and Scotty and Jack, they just took all the pressure off me and just, "You'll be looked after, don't worry, you'll play again," and they were brilliant. They were absolutely brilliant.
How does it affect you now when you think back on it? You look back on it?
Listen, I think it's just like life. You just get on with things, eh? You don't kind of. I'm not looking back, and I was lucky. Listen, I was very lucky. I mean, it was a brain operation, which is obviously dangerous, but it was minor in the brain, and I was obviously under the right person who pioneered the operation. So, and Derek, I was out 9 weeks.
Well, I was going to say, Darren, what was absolutely remarkable was you were back playing with 9 weeks.
9 weeks.
And your first game back, I mean, it wasn't just any old game. Old Firm at Parkhead. And you came off the bench. What an incredible moment for you, Darren.
Actually, the training session before it, I was always at Scotty. "Scotty, can I join in?" "No, it's too early, you can't join in. Please let me join in," and all that. So this day we were up Barrowfield and I said, "Scotty, can I join in?" So he said to Vim, "Can you join in?" I said, "Yeah." So I ran on and all that, gets a bib on and all that. And this is honest truth. Jackie went down the line, crossed it and I headed it in. And I swear to God, all the boys just kind of stopped. I don't know if they were amazed that I scored or they were just worried about, but that's actually what happened.
But you just did it instinctively? Which was huge.
Because they've not put anything in my head.
Aye.
They've made the problem in my head, they've made better.
But you didn't even think about it though, Darren,
No.
Which was,
yeah.
Did that also tell you something? If you see if as the ball's coming across, you had kind of hesitated, that would have been a worry for you?
It would have been, it would have been a worry for the manager and it would have been worry for everybody. But I just headed it in, and as you say, the first game back, was, and it goes on at half time. Gaza was sent off for slapping Morton, and then the last minute, and again, I've said about there's situations that I think were pinnacle in us winning the league. Stubbsy scoring that night was massive.
What did Gaza say to you on the night? Or did you get a chance to have a chat with him that particular night, or had he been in contact with you throughout your rehab?
Yeah. Well, probably the funny story was that when I scored my first goal up at Aberdeen, I'd given Scotty, Jack, Jock, and Dr. Philip Barlow a bottle of champagne and asked them, will you open it the day I scored my first goal?
Brilliant.
And so I scores at Aberdeen.
Brilliant.
I jump into the crowd and all that. And as I'm running away, I'm like that to the fans. I'm back. Right, so we plays Hearts on the Saturday at home. And listen, I thought we had played well, the team had played well, and I'd played well, and I was sub. I was raging. I was devastated. I was sub, and I was gutted, and so we plays and we beat Hearts and all that. So I've kind of got changed quickly, stormed out away, and switched my phone off messages, and it's Gaza, and he says, "Yeah, I can see you're back in the bench."
That's fantastic, isn't it?
So yeah, I was just happy to be back out there, and I just wanted to be. Listen, I knew how massive a year it was, and I just wanted to be as part of it.
You ultimately get a league title medal, which meant the world to you, and obviously meant the world to the club for everything it symbolised. How do you feel about your time at Celtic? How do you think you were seen as a Celtic player?
No, well, if you ask me, was a success? No.
No?
No, it wasn't a
Really?
success. I never played enough to be a success. Was a failure.
You played a good part in the season that won the league.
Yeah.
Massive.
I played a small part, yeah, but I mean a real success that I would want to be. But it was a failure, no, because I never played enough to be a failure. And that was Vim. And listen, whatever I think, and he brought me to the club. He was the manager that brought me to the club, and I thank, and he was a lovely man and all that. Do I think I should have played more? Yes, I do think I should have played more.
But then there's an exceptional circumstance, isn't there, that you've had to overcome.
Yes, I know, but that was out the road. I still think, but it's irrelevant what I think or whatever any other. Vim was brought in to win a league and stop 10, and he did it.
What does it mean to you, though, that you were part of the squad that helped Celtic stop 10 in a row for Rangers?
Listen, I think you'll always get fans, even the boy that walked by there.
Yeah.
You'll get fans because you've played for Celtic. Are always grateful and always, but I think you'll always be remembered because you're in the team that stopped 10 in a row.
You subsequently, from Celtic, you had a loan spell at Coventry City under Gordon Strachan.
Yeah.
And Gordon made a big impact on you in a short period of time, didn't he?
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Obviously, I went down, Gary Mack was there. And they had a good side, Gordon was. And I was only there 2 months, and as I said, I've worked under amazing managers, brilliant managers that I loved going in every day. I loved training every day. Gordon's was off the scale.
See, before you went down to work with him, what was the extent of how you knew him? Did you have a preconceived idea of what you thought of Gordon Strachan?
Not at all, nothing. I just went down, he picked me up, he took me to his house, had a meal and all that, and I was living in a hotel, and Gavin, who's at Celtic, picked me up every morning. Yeah. And I've got to say, his training was just, honestly, off this. It was high tempo every single day, every minute of there's numerous times Dan Huckerby, who Hucks,
what a player he was.
Yeah, no wheeling, would fall out with Gordon. So Gordon would say, "No happy, Mum, we'll just go in and we'll sit for an hour and then we'll come back out." And all the boys like that, shut up. Do you know what I mean? But that's the respect he had, and honestly, his training was just incredible. It was brilliant.
And you'll still see him around the games?
Yeah, I still see Gordon, yeah.
Yeah.
And as I say, I cannot speak highly enough. And Gary McAllister signed for Liverpool at 36. And I've said to Gary, I don't think there's any doubt, because Gordon's training kept him, his ability got him, he's moved to Liverpool. But his training was, the physical side of it was so hard and at such a high tempo that he was still fit at 36.
You signed for Hearts, Darren. Now, boyhood Hearts fan, you've already touched on what that club meant to your father. Was that particularly emotional for you?
It was, and it was really strange because
when you're telling me what it meant to your dad to see you sign for Hibs and Celtic and everything else you did, but Hearts of all clubs. Incredible.
I got the call. I was asked to play in Celtic's reserves, and Joseph Venglos came in, and Joseph was the nicest man you could ever meet. He was wonderful, and I could not, even though I didn't get a game. Listen, there was Viduka, Moravcik, Larsson. Do you know what I mean?
I was speaking to Eric Blacker a couple of months ago, and he just waxed lyrical about Dr. Joe.
Amazing.
As a person, as a coach.
Texting Eric the other day, and we were talking about
Really?
Dr. Joe, yeah.
Really?
And I've so much respect for Eric as well.
Yeah.
They were great. But my time was kind of up, and I didn't want to just hang about just because it was Celtic. I wanted to still play. I still thought I had a lot to offer. So at that time, this was when it was coming in, where you didn't have to play in the reserves. Where under Jim McLean, if you didn't play on a Saturday, you played in the reserves. Where it was coming in, and Eric had said, "We're playing Hearts, do you want to play?" And I said, "No." And then I was sitting in the house and I think, why would you not want to play? You're not playing for the first team, so why would you not want to play? So I phoned Eric up and I said, yeah, I want to play. So I played, and we played against Hearts and all that. So I got a call that night, and it was Jim Jeffries. And this was a conversation. "Hi Dan, it's Jim Jeffries." I said, "Hi Jim." He says, "Could you handle it?" I said, "Yeah, no bother. We'll be in touch." That was it. I just obviously could have handled playing for Hibs and then going to Hearts.
Yeah.
And then it was all done very quickly. And I took my dad along to the press conference.
Brilliant.
And listen, Jim speaks it. And I've actually got on my phone, he was interviewed, and I've got on my phone, and he broke down crying because he says it was the proudest day of his life. Beaten, standing at the World Cup. So that made me happy, and of course my debut was against Kilmarnock, and I went to the kit man after the game. I says, "Can I keep my strip?" And he said, "Yeah." And I went and got it framed, and at the bottom I got engraved, "See, dreams do come true." And I mean,
for your dad?
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
So I mean,
That's
running out with a heart strip on, he obviously never thought he would ever see the day.
Yeah.
And I think it was the greatest day of his life.
You still choke up thinking about it?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I was doing a question and answer the other week there with Alan Preston, and I do have to stop. And I could go myself. I could go now.
No, it's lovely.
It is.
That's lovely. You know, and for everything it symbolised at that moment, for you to pull on the jersey, the maroon jersey, scored a few goals, played a few games.
Listen, it was great. And listen, Jim and Billy I'll talk about the managers I played under. They were amazing. I swear to God, they were amazing.
Quite a calm, quiet guy, Billy, wasn't he? Very rarely lost it, didn't he?
By the way, but Jim's presence, they were great. And what was I don't know if they just, obviously I was 33.
Yeah.
So I was getting on, but they knew I would go out and work hard.
Fantastic double act.
Because I can remember us getting beat with Hibs. I think it was 4-1 at Easter Road by Hearts. They battered us. And Jeffrey's interview after the game was, if Darren Jackson had been playing for us, it could have been double figures. So he'd obviously had that in his mind, but they were brilliant. They just gave me a respect. Darren, just go out and play. They knew I would work hard, but they had good players. They had Mickey and Stevie Fulton, were Swiggy started scoring goals then. He signed Kevin James at the time. Elvis was obviously at the back. Gilles in goals, and then he brought in Antti Niemi.
Still Colin Cameron?
I mean, Colin, Mickey, Mickey.
Yeah.
Obviously Lockie, Gary Locke. Listen, I absolutely loved it. One of the funny stories, we played Celtic and we were poor first half. We got absolutely battered. Sutty, Hartson, Larson, Petrov, Lenny, destroyed us. And of course Billy's come in and kind of gone for me. And we all deserved it. And I probably sat back in it. I wasn't too happy. So I went for Billy. Okay.
Billy.
But then,
right?
I never went. I stood up and I started having a go at Billy, and
That's brave.
Billy was having a go at me. So then Jim steps in. Sit down. I was like, "Are you okay then?" So I sat down, and to this day, I have a laugh with Billy saying, "You're lucky Jim stepped in, because I would have battered you about the dressing room." But honestly, the two of them were just off the scale good.
I mean, as the viewers can hear, we're on the flight path to Edinburgh Airport, but were there days at Edinburgh, at Hearts, when you were flying, you felt that good?
Oh yeah. I mean,
your childhood club.
I've said Hibs probably got the best of me, but I think Hearts got a brilliant year and a half.
Here's a question. Celtic Rangers, Hibs Hearts, what's the best derby?
Listen, they're both great for each fan.
You sitting in the fence?
No, listen, Celtic and Rangers is one of the biggest in the world. But Hibs and Hearts is biggest in the world to Hibs and Hearts fans.
Of course, it's all relative.
You know what I mean? It's all relative, yes. So I'd never dismiss the Edinburgh derby saying, "Oh, the Glasgow."
No, of course
because
not. No.
They're both amazing to play in.
I totally respect that. No, quite right. And yet the Celtic Rangers game, you're saying, is the most nervous you've been for a game.
Yes, without doubt, yeah.
And that's because of other factors that come into play and everything.
Yeah.
So, Darren, right at the start, we spoke about 80,000, Stade de France, Paris, Scotland, Brazil, untold millions of TV viewers. Your last game as a professional, April 2002, 285 folk, Stair Park, Stranraer, coming off the bench for Clydebank. Maybe not the way you thought it would end ultimately?
No, disappointed, yeah. I should have. Derek, if I'm truthful, I went to...
Less than 4 years later?
I won the league with Livingston.
Yeah.
And Leash and Davy, he obviously thought maybe my legs had gone a bit and they were going to bring in a whole new youth and younger boys, which is fine. And so I was struggling for a club, and Sandy Clark, who was great, took me up on trial, and I signed for St Johnstone, and then Sandy got sacked and Billy Stark came in, who I've got a great respect for. Billy's brilliant. I worked with the Scotland 19s, different class.
Outstanding.
And then I went to Clydebank on loan, and but I should have ended at a year left. My back was gone. I was finished. I shouldn't have gone to St Johnstone.
But it was incredible, Darren. And in the Bankies side, you had Derek Ferguson, Michael O'Neill.
No, Derek was manager.
Derek was player manager.
Yeah. Well, he didn't really play. I think he was just the manager.
He was involved in that game, I think. Unless I picked up correct, I thought I saw his name involved. Maybe he was off the bench as well. You had Rab McKinnon.
Yeah.
You know, another former international. Extraordinary. Michael O'Neill. Wow.
Billy McKinley.
Billy McKinley.
Yeah.
It's absolutely incredible.
Billy actually couldn't get a game for Clydebank in the League Two.
Yeah.
And so he left and he went down and played for Leicester in the Premiership.
Well, where else would he have gone, Darren? It's an obvious move, you know.
So, yes, listen, it should have ended a year earlier, but it never. So, it was disappointing way to finish my career, but do I have regrets? Why? It happened.